How's it going, everyone? Happy Friday night. A little bit earlier than usual. I am excited because well, first off, had to deal with a lot. My daughter and the dogs were coming in here. I'm like, dude, I got to go, right? I got allergies too, but my dogs are cool still. But I wanted to give a bonus step, right? As I was thinking about how to stop the financial bleeding, we just went over that wonderful series. I'm telling you, if you haven't seen the other steps, go back and watch that. I think my husband told me to get this close to me. So go back and go ahead and watch that. Today is a bonus step, right? And that step to stopping the financial bleeding is to get credit, right? Work on your credit. If your credit is in a, what are the categories? Fair, right? Poor, fair, maybe it was good, and then it was average, and then I think there was excellent credit. So I'm going to talk about how the credit score is broken down. If you need someone to help repair your credit, there are plenty of people that do that, right? I'm just here to educate, to teach for instructional purposes. So if you are expert in credit report repair, hey, you could go ahead and comment, and yeah, feel free to comment because that would be awesome and amazing. Okay, that's my allergies with the dogs. Okay, all right, so let's see how this credit score is broken down. Okay. um when we look at credit scores, the main score that is used is the FICO score, FICO. And the FICO score is basically like your report card. It tells you, it it's not just always a determining factor, but it is heavily contributed, and it does determine whether or not if a institution is going to um loan you money for a car, money for a home, a mortgage, or whatnot. So let's get into it. Your credit score, goodness. Okay. Your credit score is broken into 5 categories. And the first category is your payment history. Um, okay, how can I say this? If you, hold on, let me do this. Oh, goodness, y'all, pray for me, right? Um, I'm gonna start off with the smallest, like the ones with the least impact, and then I'm gonna build up to the ones that have the most impact. So the first one that I want to start off with, um, like it's almost like a pie of how each of the categories are weighted. Every piece is grouped into categories. And so the first one that I would like to talk about is um, credit like credit mix. What does credit mix mean? Credit mix is the different types of credit that you have on account. So the ones that they typically like to see is a mix of like a credit card, maybe a retail account, an installment loan, a mortgage loan is pretty big, or and like an auto loan, right? So they consider that like a credit mix. And again, let me just tell you, it's worth 10% of your total credit score. So if you have all kinds of credit, but you're not making the payments, guess what? Your credit score is not going to be good, right? So it's worth 10%. It's weighted at 10%. And so if you're looking to make a big purchase, if you only have credit cards on your credit report, then they're going to say, okay, you don't have a really good mix of a good credit mix. So it may affect your score again, 10%. So what should you do? Well, you can go to Experian.com, you can go to TransUnion.com and go online. have an account, right? TransUnion.com and Experian.com, and pull up your credit report and see what the credit mix is, right? See how many different types of credit. I'm not saying the amount of credit. So if you have 20 different credit cards, guess what? That does not count as a credit mix just because they're different companies. They want different types of credit. So for instance, they may want to see a mortgage and a credit card and an installment loan, such as an automobile payment, and that account for a credit mix. So that's 10%. The next one that's at the same weighted measurement is new credit. And so new credit is if you went to open up apply for credit cards. Let's just say you're applying for loans, and if you, I don't know, y'all let me know if you work at a automobile industry or if you sell cars, right? If you don't go there with a pre-approval, what they'll do is that they'll run your name through many banks to see who's giving the best interest rate, who's giving the best deal. And so opening several credit lines is like just credit accounts at the same time will affect your credit score. And so not to say don't ever open anything up, but if you open everything all up at the same time, it's like, whoa, 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 why are you getting like 6 credit cards all in one day? Or why are you getting like 3 or 4 cars in one day? So when they see, you probably wouldn't get away with that, but if they see that you're getting a lot of new credit in a short amount of time, they're just like, okay, does that mean that there's some type of financial duress there? Is there a financial situation going on there because you're applying for new credit? So that's the second 10%. The other factor that affects your credit score is coming in at 15% is the length of credit history. So if you are 18 years old, and I know there's ways around it, especially those who work in credit, there may be ways around it. If you are 18 years old, you're probably not going to have a long credit history, right? Some of you all may, because you know how some people may have put things in your name or whatnot, but if your length of your credit history, there's really nothing you can do with that. But one of the things that they're trying to look out for is how long your credit accounts that you have, your credit lines that you have. I'm not talking about credit cards, but all types of credits, right? How many accounts have been established, and how old is your oldest account? So, meaning if you're 18 years old and you open up a whole lot of credit cards, because they will give them to you, right? Especially if you're a college student, man, credit card companies, soon as you open up one, everyone and their mama will come and have you apply for their credit card, and they'll continue to increase the limit. I've seen it. I've been through it myself. So the length of credit history, what they're wanting to see here is that if you have a credit, let's say you had an old credit card that's 20 years old, right? And that's your oldest credit line or account, they're going to want to see that that's still around, basically. Like, do you know how to sustain credit for a long period of time? Or do you open up an account and then you shut it down, or you open it up and you shut it down? So that will affect your credit score. So the best practice here is to keep some of your credit lines for a long time. Now, again, I don't know your personal situation or whatnot, but I'm just telling you what they're saying that affects your credit score. So we talked about new credit, which accounts for 10%, credit mix, which accounts for 10%, length of credit history, which accounts for 15%. And then the next two are going to be your two biggest factors. They account for over half of how your credit score is calculated. And that is going to be coming in at 30%, second place, right? Number 2 is the amounts owed. Oh, this is fun. This is fun. So basically, just because you have a lot of credit lines, and I'm not telling y'all to go open up a whole world of credit cards, right? Or anything like that. Again, we see how that can affect your score. But what they're wanting to know is, do you keep balances on your credit card? So let's just say you had, I'm just being funny, but let's just say you had 10 credit cards. And on all those 10 credit cards, you keep a running balance, right? You keep a running balance of, 5,000 on each. Well, because you keep a balance on them, they're going to see that you're always owing something, right? On credit cards. That's a revolving credit. That's a different type of credit, right? A different type of credit on how it's calculated. If you owe something like a car, right? If you get a car that's $50,000, well, that's fine because it's going to show that every month that you make payments, that the amounts owed are continually going to um decrease little by little, because of the amortization table. Don't want to use a big word, but that's just what I'm using. Especially if you have a mortgage, where it counts is if you have revolving credits, revolving credit cards, and you are and I've heard so many things about this. Uh, and I know some people say, hey, and I've heard this. So I could tell you, I don't know where that is or how that's supported. But I've heard someone say, oh, if you keep all your credit cards, if you pay down your credit cards only to 30% balance, like the balance you owe is 30%, then that will boost up your credit score. I haven't seen that. I have not seen that personally. Um, unless my amounts owed was way higher, right? um Credit scores have been fine if you paid it off. Here's a little bit of a trick that I found that I'm going to give to you guys, and that is going to be, oh, hey, I got some comments. Usually I don't have comments. I'm excited. Okay. Hey, Derek, good to see you. So, best practice, don't give your wife the card. Yes, that is so true. Lord, I tried. Janelle told me to open it. Yes, you listen. Sometimes it will help if you need to diversify your credits. And then what you think about credit stacking. Ooh, I'm going to get to that. I am definitely going to get to that. That is some good stuff. So, um I will definitely talk about that. So, but going back to how the FICO score, so the amounts owed, right? Let me give y'all a little bit of a hack. Oh, it's a good hack. It's for those who have credit cards that are like, I'm paying my credit cards off every single month by the due date. How can I improve my credit score? And I'll tell you how you can improve your credit score. So, there is, on your credit card statement, if you receive e-statements, or uh, if you receive like regular credit card bills in the mail. So there's two dates on there that are really important. And I'm just telling y'all because this is crazy. Like, people pay money to find out about this, and then you're just like, okay, like, that's crazy. So what you want to do is, there's two dates on there. You'll see a date, which is the due date. It's due on the 14th, right? That's the due date. And then at the top of the letter or your credit card statement, there's something called the statement date. And the statement date is the date that the credit card company will mail you a letter, email you the statement. That's when it reports to the credit agency. So whatever balance that you have on the statement date is going to show up for credit reporting. So if you want to boost up your credit score, instead of paying at the due date, make sure to pay prior to the statement date that you see at the top. Because the statement date can be the second of every month, but the due date can be the 17th. So I'm paying my bills every time on the 17th, but if it's showing a balance on the second, when the statement date, whenever they release the statement, then it can still affect your score. So if you want to boost up your score, pay it by the statement date so that you could show that you don't have a big amount owed. It's really a twisted game, right? It's almost I think about that movie Friday. I know, right? Think about that movie Friday when Craig, Ice Cube, asked his mom for some money, and she was just like, she basically said, if you had a job, like, why don't you go get a job or something? He's just like, if I need a job, I don't need to borrow the money. And she was like, exactly. And so that's how I feel like the credit reporting is that they want to give you all this credit, especially with credit cards, but they don't want you using all of the credit or keeping the balances in line. That's why with American Express, they want you to pay it off like in full every single, like, basically every single month, basically. So um yeah, so that is that part. So amounts. Oh, so I hope you guys got some a nugget from that. That is number two. Coming in at number one, let's see what comes in at number one. This is really 35%, but it is still affects you, like, either way, 35%. This is the biggest one. So if you're looking at, okay, Janelle, I'm trying to figure out, oh, thank you, Pastor Q. Janelle, I'm trying to figure out, how can I improve my credit score? Well, I'll tell you, this is this one. I don't even know why I'm even going to it, but I'm going to it because it's important, right? Payment history comes in at number one. Payment history comes in at number one, 35%. Why is that? Because the first thing any lender wants to know is whether or not can you pay what, like, can you pay what you owe, basically? Can you pay what you owe? So if you want to figure out how to get back on track, and I'm not even going to touch this, any current accounts that you have on your credit report, you want to make sure to make steady payments. Make a payment so that they can see that you have a good credit history. That is worth 35%, over a third of your credit score. So if you feel like you've fallen behind, figure out how you can make payments so that every single month, because you got to think about it, every single month on that statement date, every month that you don't pay or you're behind, it's going to say, hey, you're either 30 days past due, 60 days past due, 90 days past due. So how can you turn it all around? That is with adjusting your payment history, meaning just pay your bills every single month. If you forget, set up due dates, put things and systems in place so that you don't get behind on your payment history. That is number one. The second one, like I said, is the amounts owed. Amounts owed is big. If you could pay down your credit cards, I'm telling you, your credit will shoot up. Like, I've had people that seen it shoot up. If I know COVID was hard on a lot of us, but your payment history, and they had a lot of programs that can help with that. But if you've fallen behind and if you are able to get on a steady plan, that will boost your score. And let me tell you something else too. You know, the reason why people do installment loans or those places don't get payday loans, do not get payday loans. I'll tell y'all that right now. So just sorry, that's just one of my rants. But sometimes a bank will give you an installment loan to where they'll take out a loan and you make payments. That improves your credit score because they see that you can make steady payments instead of paying it off. So just in full transparency, how old was I? I was 16 and I got a new car. I got a new Chevrolet Cavalier. For those that are old school may know what that is. I call it old school, but they don't make those anymore. So I think it's equivalent to a Chevy Cruze maybe, but I feel like the Chevy Cavalier kind of looked better. I know, right? So that's what I had. So the Chevrolet Cavalier, my mom was so motivated to pay that car off that we paid it off in 11 months, right? And again, they're not that much money, but for us, it was big. We paid it off in 11 months. Well, when my mom wanted to go buy a home, they couldn't count the car payments. They couldn't count that into her credit report because it wasn't 12 months time, or it wasn't a certain length of time that she had made payments. She was so eager to pay it off, like, hey, I just want to pay it off, but it still affected her credit score. Now, I'm not telling you not to pay anything off, right? I'm not telling that at all. Like I said, I talked about debt in a previous step, right? How to get out of debt. What's the best debt to pay? Yes, and I do see that. Yes, don't get payday loans. It's designed to trap you with crazy interest, right? I know someone who got payday loans and then they're like, hey, you want to refinance? And then they're like, sure. And then it's crazy interest. You never get out of it. It's meant for you not to get out of the hamster wheel of payday loans. It's just your whole paycheck goes to that. So avoid that. I know you may have some emergencies or different things like that, but you may be surprised that you may be in a better credit position than not. Um, that's why I said this is one of the things that keep the middle class because of liabilities, right? We like the finer things, and because um, if we don't know how to leverage our credit to build wealth, then we can use the credit to gain liabilities. And next thing you know, only thing we're doing is we're running. Oh, you used to run the payday companies. Y'all listen, y'all look, y'all see that right there? She giving y'all some secret sauce. I had to stop that because she giving y'all some secret sauce. She used to run a payday company. So is she telling y'all don't get them loans? Do not get those loans. Do not get those loans. And here's the thing: they prey upon people, right? So that you can just stay trapped, and they use your ignorance against you, right? To take advantage of you. So if you can avoid it, definitely avoid it for sure. So yeah, that's so good. Open up 8 check and goes in Oklahoma. Listen, y'all, that is listen. And they want, I'm gonna tell y'all this, those payday companies are not broke. So I'm gonna let y'all know they are doing fairly well. Fairly well. But I don't want y'all to get caught up in that trap. Yes, it's a trap. Don't get caught up in that trap. So that's the thing. That's the thing that breaks down some of the oh, excuse me, some of the credit score breakdown, right? And so the credit score breakdown. And so I had a question about credit stacking. Ooh, credit stacking. Are you meaning like credit card stacking, right? Credit card stacking. So okay, so this is my knowledge of credit card stacking. Credit card stacking is whenever you open up a credit card, right? Um, okay, good. Credit card stacking. You open up a credit card, and what happens is that you are able to get like other credit cards want you, right? They want your card. They're like, ooh, you opened up a Chase, whatever. And so you get other credit card companies that try to come to you. But what happens is it's supposed to be a way for you to like stack your credit so that your credit basically your credit lines will be higher so that you can so you get how can I say like better deals. Like that's the way how I see it, right? It's like better deals. And Derek, were you talking about more like business credit or personal credit? Both. Okay, great. So both. So this is a strategy that I see a lot of people use is that whenever they're looking at getting credit, right? It's important that they open up an account, but what it does is that um they're able to here's okay, this is the best way how I can see it. So let's say I'm a creditor, right? I'm a credit card company, and if I'm going to approve your credit. Let's just say I am like American Express. I'm just going to use that for an example. Let's just say you got a Chase card. You've been paying your Chase card, and so and then you open up another card, right? You open up another line of credit that is higher. And so if I see that you're taking care of a smaller credit line, a smaller credit card, and I'm like, okay, that's great. Like maybe you had a $5,000 credit. Now I want to give you a $10,000 credit, right? And then so what happens is that if the bigger like credit companies, like the ones that give you more credit, are seeing that you are knowing how to manage like what is it, if you know how to manage the smaller things and it gets larger and larger and larger, then you'll be at a place to where you have bigger credit lines that you can actually use, and it will actually make you more attractive to them. So yes, Derek, let me know if that's a strategy that you've used. um I don't know if I put a, what do you call it, like a method to the madness in my situation, but I've seen where it worked, and I know that that is something that is used in business credit. Because one thing that I can tell you with business credit is that you want to start off with, uh, I know Navy Federal Credit Union. Yes, it's good as long as you know how to maintain it, right? As long as you can manage it for the good. So I would say it is good to credit stack. And I know in business it's really important because you may start off with a gas card, and then you go up and open up a trade line, and then you'll open up, a quill account or something like that. And then it goes more and more and more, right? And so you're able to get credit in a specific order. There we go. Derek says went from 1,000 to over 30,000. So that's what I was saying, that you want to start off by managing those smaller credit limits well. And then as they see that you know how to manage $1,000 credit line, let me give you 5,000. And then the next person, oh, you can manage $5,000 well. Let me give you 10,000. And then it just goes up and up and up. That's what I was saying. Like, you want to make sure that you are managing these things well. I was not sure if it was good in the long term though. The only issues that I could see with that is it affecting the like the length of credit history, and that's worth like 10 or 15%. So if the very first card that you open was a $1,000 credit, what you may want to do is ask for a increase in credit line and see if they can increase your credit line. Now again, what you're saying in long term, everything is done by manage, right? So whatever you mismanage, you can definitely use. So you want to make sure that you can use use it properly to your advantage, to either give you leverage, um, to help make you more money. That's why we talked about, when we talked about debt a couple of days ago, we talked about debt to income ratio. Another thing that's used is called like debt to, like, what is your operating leverage, right? How are you leveraging the debt that's been given to you? So it's really important that you can utilize the credit. Again, I would say for business purposes. It says got to pay my tithes some way. Oh man, oh man, oh man. Well, the thing is that if well, let me know. I'll give you the church's cash app information there. I'll definitely do that. So but whenever you're getting better credit, you want to make sure to be a good steward over what God is giving you. I know some people are out here, they're like, hey, listen, you want to go ahead and get as much credit as you need. This is amazing. This is great. And you almost have to be at a place to where you're disciplined enough to take care of what he is giving you and how to manage that. Again, that's why the FICO score, that's why even the business credit score shows how well you can manage making payments, steady payments, how well you can manage keeping your balances at a reasonable amount, and how well you can manage using that money. Now, the number one indicator I would say is like how well you can use that money to make money to pay back your loans, right? You don't want to get a lot of credit and invest into things that won't make you money back. So that's going to be the number one thing that I'll tell you. I know I didn't mean for this to go to a business route, but I kind of did, so that's okay. So just know that those are the factors that they're looking at. Can you make regular payments? And so um, if there are any credit credit repair people on here, or people that can specialize in that, definitely feel free to chime in. And I appreciate y'all. Y'all have been amazing. So I wanted to give this bonus step because I know credit. I know that some people say, hey, don't use any credit, hate credit, right? Don't do anything with credit. But again, if you know how to leverage it the right way, it can actually benefit you versus hurt you. So All right, Derek. Let me know if you got ties. Me and Tori will come pick it up from you. So, all right. Well, yeah, this is awesome. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. And let me know if y'all want me to go over other topics. Listen, I love to educate and help y'all. So let me know. Y'all got any more questions? Inbox me and say, hey, I got this question, or I would like for you to go over this topic. I love to do that. And glad to serve. And I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful Friday night. God bless.